Ready when you are.
Okay, and we're back once again.
You got a little cute smile on your face,
Oh,
Alec.
you do too, man. I like your little mustache, going on there.
I'm just happy to be here.
Dude, I'm happy to be here too. Well, thanks for joining the show, Matt, I mean, it is the Mellow Experiment. It's named after you. Back in high school, we used to call you Mellow Mike. That's the origin story. People finally get the story by like episode 9 or whatever we're on at this point.
But I'd say that we own this podcast 50-50 though.
I would
You know,
agree. I would
it's a
agree.
mutual endeavor.
Yes. Absolutely. But today, we're talking about sports again because Matt and we like sports. What's your opinion
Big
on
sports head.
sports? What's your opinion on sports, Matt?
It's a great way to be outside, number
Mm-hmm.
one. Just enjoy the day.
Mm-hmm.
Fun to watch, fun to be with friends and do. Like ping pong. I
Okay.
know that you and I, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's our most played sport together.
Yes.
We've played basketball a couple times from time
Couple
to
times.
time,
Couple times. Yeah.
but ping pong, basketball, golf,
Oh yeah,
tennis,
golf. Yeah. Tennis, Matt,
cricket,
the tennis man. That's right.
cricket, bowling, lawn bowling.
Lawn
I could just
bowling.
name
That's
every
Yo,
sport
ultimate frisbee,
ever.
bro. Ultimate frisbee. I used to play
All
ultimate in high
see?
school until
Yes,
they
I,
until
I
they made like a
do remember
team
that.
for it, and I was like, I was good enough to be on the team, but I didn't want to be on the team because it was like I was just trying to go out and play casually with people, and all they're like, "Oh, you gotta show up to practice and stuff and drills." I'm like, "Fuck this!" I was
No,
like,
you're just anti-establishment,
I'm not doing that bullshit. Fuck that." So yeah, I left.
anti-establishment, Alec.
Yeah. Um. Anyways, though, we're gonna talk about more recent happenings within the NBA and the NHL,
Mhm.
also known as the National Basketball Association and the National Hockey League, which isn't really
Lot of
national.
national pride.
It's not really national though, because
International.
it is international. You are correct, because we also include Canada, or at least it's continental. It should be the CHL, Continental Hockey League. So they got like fucking 4 teams up. Five. How many teams do they have in Canada? They have too many. Too many.
At least three. But there already is a CHL, Alec.
Oh, really? Canadian
Canadian
Hockey
Hockey
League?
League.
Ah,
Yeah.
fuck. They beat us to it. Damn Canadians.
Um, but that is very American centric of us
Yes.
to
It's true.
persist on calling it the
It's
National
true.
Hockey
It's true.
League.
It's true. But, anyways, I just wanted to talk about some recent happenings within the NBA. It's pretty exciting, honestly. What's been going on is pretty intense with LeBron James, 38-year-old man, has a child that will be going to college, playing in
Yeah, he
University of
hasn't
Southern
committed.
California. No, he
Oh,
committed.
USC, really?
US
Oh my
Bronny
gosh.
Bronny James, LeBron James Jr. is now playing in college, and his father is still playing in the NBA, and he's dropping like 30 a night. Crazy. And the craziest part is now they're down 0-2 to the Nuggets. How could this happen?
One word, Jokic, you
Yep,
know?
the Joker. Nikola Jokic really proving the haters wrong. He was denied the MVP this year by voters. They gave it to Joel Embiid, who
Yeah.
notoriously played pitifully in the playoffs for like the third season in a row. So you got that.
Yeah, that was a bit of a joke.
Yep.
That was a bit of a joke.
If they ran back the squad they had from 2019, they probably could have gotten a ring, but instead they decided to trade Jimmy Butler because they didn't think he was good enough. They thought he was the problem, and look at him now. Now he's bringing an 8 seed, which hasn't even existed since like 2020. 2020 was when they introduced the play-in, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
8 seeds didn't exist before the play-in, and I
The
don't think and 7 seeds did, but LeBron and company and they had to fight their way through the
mhm.
play-in just to get a decent seed because they didn't have to play the Kings right off the bat, which I think was one of the toughest teams to play in the playoffs in general
Yeah, that was a
because
grind.
they just ran you down with one of the highest energy offenses in the league, and they basically just wore out the Warriors. They gave it their all against the Kings. They play the Lakers in a close series, and they just couldn't close them because they just weren't playing smart or really just decent defense for the first 2 games because they were just worn out. So
Who's the Kings leader? I'm trying to think who's on that team.
Aaron Fox,
Yeah, Aaron
Domantas
Fox.
Sabonis.
Hmm.
Yes, they
Kind
kind
of a
of
collection of just like good players, but like
Yeah,
no
Malik
one knows
Monk.
superstars.
Yeah, Malik. Oh, dude, De'Aaron Fox is an absolute superstar. In a lot of people's opinions in that series, he was probably the best player, other than
I
Steph
don't see
Curry.
people wearing the Aaron Fox jerseys. I
Bro,
haven't seen a single the Aaron
he
Fox jersey.
dropped I think the most points out of either team in the playoffs. More than Steph. More than I mean the Warriors are a team that share the ball a lot, so that's just kinda how they roll.
My favorite player is John Morant, despite the legal issues he's
You
found himself
you
in lately.
actually is that real?
I like him because his like story of coming from like a small college
Uh-huh.
and like just like being the GOAT,
Okay.
and like he's a very explosive, exciting player,
He is, it's true.
but
And
also
he
he's kind
also
of a
likes
meme
waving his
now.
gun at people. Did you hear about the most recent incident with Ja?
It's like just like the same thing, just like on Instagram, like just like I don't understand.
Dude, it's bad. He grew up in like a
It's like
middle
a suburb.
class,
Yeah, like
suburb.
he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
that's
like,
hilarious.
yeah, so yeah, Ja's fake gangster out here, kind of whatever, but yeah, nah, he's definitely getting suspended for a period of time. The Grizzlies organization as a whole are just super pissed at him because they're making
He
the whole
is
team
kind
look
of.
bad. Like him and Dylan Brooks, they're releasing Dylan Brooks. I mean, they're trying to get a completely different. Like they kind of accepted the fact for a little bit. They were like, "Ooh, we're like the bad boys," like bad boys Pistons. And then they like turn around and they're like, "Okay, this is actually looking really bad against us now. Like as an organization, we look like a bunch of hoodlums. This is
I
bad."
mean, they got to represent the city. Memphis, like in itself,
It's true,
could use some uplift.
dude. I
Uh,
met I met some guy
I
there
agree.
who was like smoking weed, which is illegal in the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, man, like he's just ripping it like in the middle of like a club, right? It was pretty packed, but I was like, bro, like damn, you got balls for doing that. And he's like, bro, like if you've seen like a man pack like a gun before, like you ain't scared of shit. And he just kept smoking. I was like, all right, no. Welcome to Memphis, I suppose. Kind of skeetered off after that.
Sure. Good call tonight from there. Uh,
Yep. So yeah,
that's fine. Good food. Good food though, Memphis.
oh yeah, bro.
Great.
Yo, the barbecue there was fucking
BBQ.
fire. Tony
Yes,
Pollard?
sir.
Tony Pollard, NFL
That like
running
old
back
dude.
for the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, Tony Pot. Yes,
Yeah,
that's correct. He played second fiddle to Zeke.
his parents own a barbecue joint in Memphis,
Oh, that's fire.
and I went
Did you go
there,
there?
and it was
Yeah.
so good, dude. It was so good.
Did you say hey to Mr. and Mrs. Pollard?
They weren't there. Do you know why? Because they were like, it was like 2 days, I think, before the Dallas Cowboys played their first playoff game. So
Mm,
they flew out to probably
hmm
go see their son play. So didn't get to meet him, but I would
That
have
makes
wished him
sense.
best.
Of course. Big friends of the podcast, the Pollards.
Yes, they are. But anyways, though, yeah. So the playoffs on the East side have honestly been way more exciting than I expected. And the side on the West has been pretty fun. But now that the Lakers are down 0-2, it looks like the Nuggets are probably just going to roll into the finals because the Lakers, they had to give it their all against the Warriors, and the Warriors had to give it all against the
Yeah,
Kings.
they're
Like
just gassed.
they
They're just
are,
gassed at the
they're
point.
old. Like, yeah, I don't think LeBron's got it in him, but he's been down 0-2 before, and he's won a championship. So, like, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I mean, like, all the players around him need to step up. So, just kind of tough because it seems like this team's reached their cap at this point. The Nuggets really just have it all. Like, they got good defense, and Jokic is just like, he's just scary from the entire floor, and he's just got like probably the best passing game in the league. Like, it's crazy.
I would say they probably have a more complete team.
They do. They have a very,
I'd
it's
agree.
like their team is finally accepted more of a winning culture, and they had kind of an issue with like what Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray kind of like button heads a little bit, like kind of like a Jason Tatum, like what Jalen Brown kind of a thing, where it's like, oh, like who's the real superstar here? And Michael Porter Jr. really just kind of realized that yeah, he's like the B member of the team. So he just like plays his support role in any way to just win, which is really what a team should be. Is I will play my role in any way so we can win. That's the healthy thing to have. And you can kind of see with the Celtics that Brown kind of feels like he's getting like kind of more hate than he deserves because he's a more consistent player, but he just doesn't have like lights out nights like Tatum does. Tatum is so hit or miss that now they're down 0-2 to Jimmy Butler, who's just an absolute god at basketball.
Yeah, miss him on the Bulls.
He's a
Miss him on the
slayer. He's
Bulls.
a fucking slayer. And now that he's got one of the best coaches of all time, dude, absolute slayer out there. And he's got Kyle Lowry and Bam, dude. And
Oh
they
yeah,
don't even
Bam's
have
going
Tyler
off.
Hero. They don't even need him. Apparently Duncan Robinson's stepping the fuck up. Crazy. Crazy.
It's a fun series. So if you had to make a pick right now for the Western and Eastern champs, I mean, I think it's kind of evident. You think Nuggets and how many? Just gonna sweep the Lakers?
Nuggets, probably Nuggets in. LeBron's got to put up a fight, right? But it's probably Nuggets in six.
Sure.
Nuggets in six. Nuggets in six, I'd probably say. I think the Lakers might win back to back, and then they're just going to be gassed. They're going to like lose hard game five, put their back up against the wall, and LeBron's just not going to be able to put it together at the end. He's
I can
just
be
going
able
to
to
be
put it
like,
together.
you know,
Okay.
and then I'm going to say the Heat come out, dude. Like I'm at this point, I am rooting for the Heat to win it all. If if it's not going to be LeBron, because I'm either rooting for LeBron's legacy or I'm rooting for Jimmy Butler to finally get his ring, dude. He deserves it. Having an 8 seed that went all the way up through the play-in after losing their first game in the play-in too. They lost their first game in the play-in and then they just go lights out through all the way through the finals would be crazy.
That's just a is that a 3 game series? Those playing games?
They're like one game. It's
Oh,
one
they're really just one
knockout.
game.
Yeah, knockout game.
Damn.
So they almost got
Okay.
knocked out of the playoffs entirely, which is insane. And now they're in the Eastern Conference Finals as an 8 seed. That's wild. Dude, that's so crazy.
Yeah, they keep changing the format of these playoffs on us.
Yeah.
Like I remember like in the early 2000s they like overhauled the whole thing.
NBA
Um,
always is just trying to change things because they just
but
need
I
bigger
don't know, I kind of
numbers.
like it.
I do too.
I think like I mean there's a ton of teams that make the like playoffs with the playing games now and everything. Like the Bulls somehow made it, it's like it's just more entertaining,
Mm-hmm.
when everyone's got a team in the mix, their team.
Yep.
I watch those Bulls games. Um, but that's cool. That's cool. When do they got any games tonight?
I think the Lakers play again. Now they're at home.
La
I think they
Lakers.
win.
Speaking
I'd
of
be
the
shocked if they lose.
La Lakers,
The
did you see the
Lakers.
Magic Johnson movie like series show on
Oh,
HBO
winning
Max?
time?
Yeah.
No, I saw like a couple episodes.
Well, you gotta finish it.
You liked it?
It's so good, yeah. So
Dude, I
good.
just didn't like the way that they told the story. It was like it annoyed the crap out of me. It was like trying to do like a retelling, but then they had the characters retelling the story also then do like a documentary style and it just like I either wanted like a documentary style or I wanted to be immersed. And when they kept ripping like it would just be like John C. Riley pretending to be this character, right? And it'd be like, oh yeah, like okay, I'm following this narrative, and then all of a
Oh,
sudden he's like,
now I'm
and
doing this.
in the '80s, the Lakers, and I'm like, dude, like now he's just John C. Riley, like in a weird ass outfit, just like talking about the Lakers. I'm like, dude, it can be that, or like it can be like it can't. I just didn't think it could be both. I was like, you can either go for the whole retro thing, but you can't like have your characters then step out of the scene that they're in to go, well, let
Yeah.
me give you some expose about what's happening. And I'm like, stop. So
That's just
I
that
can't.
director's style.
I
Like
couldn't.
he
I
he
couldn't do it. I hated it. I couldn't do it. I want to be
okay,
immersed or I want to be informed, and doing both at the same time is so hard to do, and I didn't
too
like it.
much. Okay. I was a fan of that. Teach their own.
Well, why don't you share
Each
why you
their
liked it so
own.
much? Because I just shit on it. Tell our fans why it's good.
Um, just it was funny, you know, first off, very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually not a fan of those like hour episode like series vibes or whatever, but found myself enthralled and that was like a very exciting time for like basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like the like there were a ton of stuff going on and like the Lakers franchise as a whole is really interesting to like hear about how they revolutionized the like viewing experience.
It's
They
true.
they made it a party. They made it LA.
Mm-hmm.
it's cool to learn about the business side of things like that,
Sure.
the inner workings of an organization. So like in the same spirit, I also really like Moneyball,
Yeah, Moneyball was
the
good.
movie
Everyone really
about
likes that one.
the A's, just
Yeah.
like behind the scenes sports business genre to me is always pretty
Yeah.
good.
Well, that's a big water bottle. You must have an incredible thirst, Matt.
Um, I am playing tennis after this later
Oh,
this
okay,
afternoon.
okay.
So this is just getting ready for that.
Nice. But yeah, so yeah, I guess talking more on the Eastern Conference side of things though, like yeah, the Heat just kind of battled the Knicks, beat them outright, and now they're where they're at. And the Celtics, they clinched against the 76ers. It looked like they were going to lose to them, and they just beat them. The Sixers just straight up choked. So major
As they
choke
do.
job, as they do every year.
At
Sixers
least they got the
fans, yeah,
East.
Sixers fans got to be pissed. But I don't know. It is what it is. Jimmy Butler, I'm sure, would have preferred to have played his former team because he really hates the Sixers as an organization because they just let him go after he almost got all the way and lost to Kawhi on a buzzer beater miracle three. So, absolutely insane. That was an insane game. But regardless, though, yeah, dude, the Celtics, they just look like they kind of remind me of the Warriors too, where it's just like they have the pieces from last year. Nothing has changed, but like their team chemistry is gone down the toilet because there's definitely some inter team conflict about what the role players are. Just why Denver is doing such a good job now because they're just and the Heat too because they're both just teams. They are like, let's listen to the coach
Hmm.
draw up the play. You know, we got our go-to guy, we got our Jimmy, or we got our Jokic, or Jamal, or I guess it was Tyler Hero before, but you pass the ball to someone else on the Heat. They're just a really deep team, it turns out, because they can all just kind
Yeah,
of
it's
play.
it's
Um,
not glamorous, but that's really how you win games.
yeah, they're not a glamorous team, but the Heat are winning games because Jimmy just wills them, and it's just crazy to watch. It's just fun to watch that instead of like the Warriors this year and the Celtics this year. I just didn't like as much because it was like kind of painful to watch these teams just like not seem confident in what they were doing, but then still get away with winning games. When they choke, and it's bad. It's not fun to watch.
Right, Ben.
And watching the Lakers team this year has been pretty fun just because they blew up their whole squad like days before the playoffs and then they just found immediate success. And I'm just like, that's crazy. I think that's like how that played out. Like
But yeah, yeah.
you go to like the beginning of the season and tell people that they're going to be in the Western Conference Finals. They'd be like what, like with Westbrook? And they'd be like, well, actually, he's gone.
Yeah.
Actually, they
The
traded him.
well, didn't they like lose like the first like 10 games of the season?
Yeah, they did. They
Wasn't
were
that a
they
thing?
were horrible, which is crazy. And now they're in the Western Conference Finals, and that's kind of just a LeBron James thing. But AD stepped up too because LeBron got hurt
Right, 80.
for parts of the season, and AD stepped up and realized like, oh yeah, I can play like tough ball, and he isn't getting injured, thankfully. So yeah, but Jokic is just better than AD, so I think yeah they just lose outright because they just don't have an answer for Jokic.
This would
Tough.
be huge for the state of Colorado.
Yes. Yes, it will. It would.
I don't get out to the West much.
But I don't know. I kind of want to see the Heat win, even though they've had winnings in the past. So I guess it'd be cool to see Denver finally like win for the first time in forever, and like or see LeBron win another one because he's just goated with the sauce and like running this team all the way to the end would be crazy. Or Jimmy just willing his way because I think he deserves a ring. So
So you, at the end of the day, you just don't want the Celtics one. What I'm hearing.
yes, I do not like the Celtics team. I guess I would say I don't really like the Nuggets one either, but they actually like play interesting basketball. Like I like how they like it's just like the players, I guess I'm just not as like interested about. They don't have as much of a storyline. They're just like we were the one seed. Um Jokic is kind of a boring player, but he's efficient and yeah, that's basically it. We have like no personality. We just play the game, we win. So, kind of felt like the Bucks when they won, but Giannis is just kind of a sweetheart, so
Yeah.
kind of rooted for him to get a ring. But yeah, they got
So you,
like
you just love. You love a good story.
Yeah,
That's
it's
who
all
you
about
root
the
for.
storyline. It really is. And yeah, like the Nuggets don't really have one this year, other than Jokic gets a ring, Denver gets to party, but the Avalanche just won in hockey. I don't think Denver, needs more. That's my take.
Oh, the Stanley Cup playoffs are over?
Um, the Stanley Cup playoffs. They're in their conference finals, right?
I don't know.
They
You just
are.
talked about the Avalanche, the hockey team, right?
Oh yeah, they got knocked out in like the first round this year.
Uh,
Uh huh.
damn.
Yeah. So
Tough.
former winners. They hadn't won since like 2002. I only know
Oh,
that because there's this old GameCube game I used to play called NHL Hits '02, and the Avalanche were the best team because they won the Stanley Cup. So, yeah, like I thought it was kind of funny. I was playing that game a lot, and then as soon as I started playing that game a lot more, like the Avalanche got good again, and then they won
here's
another
going.
Stanley Cup. So, but
Thanks to you.
yep.
Who was
So
on that 2002 squad that you remember
dude,
that
I
were
I don't remember. There's too many like random names. I could name you some from like the team that we'd always play is the San Jose Sharks. You got like
there?
you got Marlowe. You got you got Domphausa. Domphausa. You got Ricky. You got Ricky.
Ricky.
You got uh
Hmm.
you got I don't know. That's the three
You know
players
more
that we
about
always
early
played. So
2000s hockey than
yeah,
me. Hmm.
yeah. So
That's funny.
But yeah, no, but in the meantime, though, I don't know as much of what's going on in the hockey playoffs because the teams that I was kind of rooting for were like the Oilers, honestly, just because I like McDaniels. He's really fun to watch. They were a super fun team to watch because basically their whole strategy was just score as many goals as possible in the first period and hope we win, which is way more fun to watch than other teams, but it just didn't pan
Yeah.
out for them. But I know Carolina's playing like Florida, and I think Dallas is playing Vegas. I think those are the matchups. They're left.
What state or what city is the Oilers?
The Oilers are Edmonton in Canada,
Oh,
also the home of the
big
great Wayne
big oil.
Gretzky. The great Wayne Gretzky.
A lot of oil out there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
You know,
Nice.
but no, this team is pretty this Oilers team was pretty talented offensively, but just not as much defensively, and they couldn't pull it off against well, I think the Florida Panthers. I think they were playing. I don't remember. I actually don't even remember. That's or I think they're playing the Vegas Golden Knights. Jeez, that's how much I know about hockey. Those are like the wrong conferences. They're on opposite sides. But
Been catching the Premier League at all?
the Premier League.
Manchester United just won.
Oh really?
Like the regular season title. I don't know shit about
I don't care that much.
like
I
who
know the
wins,
rules. One of
but
my I have like a friend of a friend, and he apparently is so into it. He'll like wake up when the game's happening at like 3 a.m. and then go back to sleep after the end of the
that
game.
is so not worth it
No,
on
it's
so
not.
many
I
levels.
know. Just record
T-
that. Just record it.
I
I gotta see
mean,
it live. I gotta see it live.
maybe if you were like a diehard fan that like grew up in like England
Mm-hmm.
and like are here for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but if you're just like an American fan, it's no,
I
no.
agree. I agree.
Not to gatekeep the Premier League or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but the
No,
Premier League. I like the different levels. I like how they have
that is
very
cool.
fluid levels. That's something that is like let's say that the Bulls suck for like 3 years. What if they get sent down to like NBA two,
No, the G League that already exists. They got
The
relegated.
G League,
Yeah,
of
they got
course. But
relegated to
like
the G League.
they don't it's not fluid like that. The G League is an entirely different league, it's a developmental league. But it'd be cool if there were different levels,
I mean, it's the same thing. Whatever, Matt. Whatever you want to fucking
more
say.
at
Or you could
stake.
say MLB. What if their like AAA teams could possibly win their way up?
But it's not
Like
the same thing because they're
imagine.
all owned by
Shut
the
up!
same
You're
like
ruining it,
team.
Matt. You're ruining
Go
it.
ahead.
But yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
it'd be funny just because it's like, bro, imagine like the Kane County Cougars winning a World Series.
But to your point, they're owned by MLB teams. They're all like the same organization. It'd
That's
be like
true.
there'd be like two New York Yankees in the MLB because they're just owned by the same team. But I agree that there are probably a handful of AAA teams that are better than the Oakland A's right now.
That
So
I'd believe it. Dude, I went to an A's game. It was sad.
yeah, Nick.
Yeah, I went with Nick. It was so sad. But
That
they were playing the Cubs. That's why we went, and the Cubs won. It was hype. But like the
was
stadium
fun.
is butt cheeks. I bought up one beer and it was $16, and I wanted to cry. So I didn't
How much
realize
for
it was
kicks?
$16 until after they gave me the beer, and I didn't want to say no. I wanted to drink it, so I was like, "Well, rip."
But tickets were like negative $1
$20,
though.
$20,
Yeah,
sitting all the way
I
up
bet they were
front.
like
And most of the
yeah,
people
like
there were
good
Cubs
tickets.
fans. And I should have
Yeah,
gone
like
over to
I
the Cubs
figured.
fan section because some of the families of the players were there because some of them were from California. And I was like, dang, I should have
Wow.
like gone and met their like families and be like, oh, your son is so good. Like I'm so glad he's on the Cubs. I could have had that kind of interaction. I didn't, but oh well.
I think that the families probably appreciated that.
Yeah,
But that would have been cool.
yeah,
That would have been cool for you.
yeah. But
Yeah, the Cubs are doing pretty good.
yeah, not anymore really. Honestly, we're pretty mid right now. I'm gonna check it out. Let's see. I'm going to the ESPN app because that's where I find all of the stats these days. I mean, we won
I was
yesterday by a lot, but like against the Phillies, which is they're not
I
super
was
great this
down
season either, even though they were in the World Series.
I was down in Wrigleyville to catch a game against in their Marlins series
Oh
like
yeah, how was that? We
2 weeks
lost,
ago.
right?
Oh, they won that game
Nice,
when I
nice.
went
You're
on like
losing.
Saturday. Yeah, but it was like an eighth inning comeback. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I never had
Hmm.
like gone down there to like watch a game, just like in
Sure.
Wrigley. It was fun.
So I will say that at least in the NL, um, the running's still pretty tight, just because like it's still pretty early in the season. Like you can see that like the Braves, and like the Dodgers are good as they typically always are. But like the Cubs are just so like mid right now. Like the Central Division is just kind of eating themselves alive because like Pittsburgh and Milwaukee are both at 24 wins, and everyone else, which is the Cubs, the Reds, and the Cardinals, we are all sitting at 20 or 19 wins. So like we're basically like compared to other teams in the NL, we're all still kind of at the bottom of the barrel. So kind of not
It is a
good.
tough place to be.
No, it's not. We are like in a spot right now where it's like this is probably not a winning season. Oh
Hmm.
well. Rip. We're still above we're still under 500, so we got to get over that, but I guess, we could possibly do it, but I don't know. It's kind of disappointing. We started off hot. That's all I'll say.
You're gonna get down for some games this summer
Oh, absolutely.
when you're
Cyrus is actually working for the Cubs this summer, so
that is what you said,
yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna go to
Wow.
some Cubs games together.
Because I mean, not to pry into personal affairs on this podcast, but you guys are looking for like a spot like pretty close to where all that's going down.
Staying with my my friend Jack, staying with
Yep.
him. We're getting a place in Lakeview, which I believe should work out. We're just getting the application approved, and then after that,
Oh,
we just
sick.
sign. So, yeah,
Yeah, it's like right
it's the
there.
yep. Mm-hmm. It's in a nice area, so as long as we can sign, then we're all good to go. So,
Very exciting times.
absolutely.
I expect you at all the games, bleachering it up.
Nah, that'd be too expensive. Cubs games are
Yeah,
still expensive, which is ridiculous, good or bad.
but
Um,
it is a fun thing to do. No, it's be good.
yeah,
Good summer upcoming, but
yeah, I'm
yeah,
excited.
we've really covered a lot of ground here on this podcast.
I guess
Talking,
the only closing statements I wanted to make just regarding the NHL and the NBA's, although they are in this recent state, and I guess the NFL too, seasons are either over or are ending soon. They're drafting, and as we know,
yes,
um, somehow the Spurs leapt into first place to snag the like over who like the Detroit Pistons and who else? Who else sucked? The Rockets.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, they
It's-
left, and the Hornets. They leapt ahead of them, and they snag themselves the first seed, which is insane because the last time that there's been like a generational big man talent that's gone to a team, it went to the Spurs, who was what's his face? I don't why can't I remember him right now?
But Tim Duncan,
Yeah, dude, Tim Duncan. And now they're getting Wembanyama. Crazy, dude. With Coach Popovich, absolute legend. Crazy.
learning from the best.
Like he literally
He's gonna be learning
coached.
from
He
the
literally
best.
coached Steve Kerr as a player, and now Steve Kerr is a coach. Like one
Yeah,
of the
I'm kind of
greatest
surprised
coaches of
that
all time.
Greg Popovich is still coaching. To be
It's
honest, I didn't know he was
insane.
still.
It's insane. And now he's gonna coach Wembanyama. Unbelievable. Um, but then in other news, as you know, the Chicago Bears had the first pick, which we traded to the Panthers. I'd say that our draft this year was pretty solid, but it's always hard to tell. You typically have to wait until a year after until you see how things pan out. But
Oh yeah, at least yeah, especially in
mm-hmm.
the NFL.
Yep.
Yeah,
So we were working on our offensive defensive lines, a little bit. We
because they
got improved.
drafted the problematic guy,
Oh, we
the
didn't. We
problematic
didn't. It
guy
was
first
that was
round.
Philly.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah, Philly drafted him. That was in the first round.
first round. Yeah,
Yeah. And more problems are coming out with him every day, but Philadelphia is literally running back with like the same team as last year, so I don't really see them finding like any major issues because the worst case for them is they're like, well, we jumped on this opportunity for a super good like additional player on our line, and if he doesn't work out, then we cut him or we trade him, whatever, right? Like that's just not a big of a problem for them. So I think that was worth the risk.
and Eagles are kind of looking like a powerhouse right now.
But this is the year that we have to see Justin Fields develop, or else I don't think he'll pan out. But I mean, he showed really good flashes last season. We'll just have to see what happens.
That's him. He
My
loves
hopes are
flashes. He
high.
loves flashes of greatness.
My hopes are high. So, um,
And the Blackhawks
yep. And then Chicago
securing
got
the
two
first pick.
first round picks this year. That's crazy. We had first round pick in hockey and in football. That's nuts. And now we're getting some stud. I forget what his name is though because I just don't
Connor
follow.
Bedard.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, kind of people are like touting him as like the next GOAT already. Just
That's
like
crazy.
he's just like
The rebuild, the
a
rebuild.
generational talent.
We're coming back. Blackhawks are coming back, baby. Let's get it.
Dude, the kid's 17
Okay, that's wild.
and
Yeah.
like has just been like feasting on like whatever Canadian league he's like in right now.
Wow.
But it's like, is he finishing high school?
Mm-hmm.
He's got the ACTs coming up, bro. He's got finals.
It's so crazy to think about. That's like his problems, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go play in the NHL, like top prospect.
Hockey is funny like that. Hockey and like soccer.
Mm-hmm.
They get them really young.
Yeah.
They get them super young. But yeah, this has been the sports,
Sports discussion.
the sports download.
Yep. I
Download the
apologize.
sports into your brain.
Apologize to the people that listen to this one in the future or skip it because they're gonna be like, oh, I don't listen to sport. I don't like sport. You know what? Hopefully, we made it interesting for you. And if not, you know what? Next time we do this, Matt, let's go back to one of our typical fireside chats about like let's do like American history part 2 or something. We did that before. We gotta bring something like that back. Or
There's a ton of little fun things to talk about, and I mean, I'm doing that trip,
oh,
Charleston. I'm sure I'll learn a
yeah,
ton of
that
little historical tidbits.
yes.
Most of
Yeah.
them probably pretty sad.
Yeah, turns out history's honestly pretty depressing, but turns out life is as a whole unless you just start like, pretending.
Hey, that's why we leave history in the past.
That's
You know,
why we got to learn from our mistakes and rise above cuz life
that's
just
what,
gets
what
better.
that's why it's called the past. You
Yeah.
leave it.
Mhm.
You leave it there.
Well, thanks again Pork Chop, for
Hey, Alec, always a pleasure. Signing off.
signing
Three,
off.
two, one. See you next time.
Bye-bye.